Listen up, this is a Porsche Cayman GTS 4.0, and I've already driven one with the PDK transmission, but this one is equipped with a 6-speed manual. So you're probably wondering which one it's better with. So let's find out. Ah yes, Porsche and manual transmissions. It seems like they're of the select few automakers that are still committed to making their sports cars available for owners to roll their own gears. And with good reason. We all saw what happened when they took the manual away from the GT3. And what about this Cayman GTS 4.0 now? It seems like yesterday when the car community was basically begging Porsche to free the Cayman, and that it's such a balanced car with a chassis capable of handling more power. Well, it seems like Porsche was just making everybody wait. It took almost 4 full generations, but I think it's fair to say that the Cayman can now be considered free because you've got a GTS 4.0, a GT4, and even a GT4 RS. Now these are some pretty serious cars now, offering lightweight Visoc packages with magnesium wheels and even the same engine as the 911 GT3. It's actually hard to believe that a Cayman has the same engine as the 911 GT3. It's actually quite amazing. And last but not least, the GTS 4.0 with its naturally aspirated high-revving boxer 6-cylinder, rear-wheel drive configuration, and a 6-speed manual transmission. Now all of these characteristics of the GTS on paper make it a really good driver's/sports car. But do you really have a choice? Now keep this choice word in mind while I shed some light on 2 potential issues with the Cayman GTS. First is the interior, and as I mentioned during my base Cayman review, it's starting to look dated. The technology is old when compared to Porsche's newer products, and some of the amenities are lacking. For example, you have to option in 2-zone climate control. I mean, this isn't really a big deal as long as the vents blow cold and hot air, but still, for a car with a $95,000 base price, it's a little ridiculous. And speaking of the price, I think that's potential problem number 2. $95,000, which is basically up $7,000 from when this car debuted in 2021. Now, as good as the Cayman GTS looks on paper, $95,000 is a pretty tough pill. Now, especially considering when you've got a Corvette Z06 with a base starting price of $105,000. Now, I know it's basically impossible to find a Z06 for that much money in today's market, but I think the same thing can be said about finding a $95,000 brand new Cayman GTS 4.0 with a manual transmission. But there are those words again, manual transmission. So does the combination of the manual and the 4-liter blur out some of these potential problems with the GTS? Let's take it for a ride and find out. All right, so now the driving portion of the GTS review. Clutch in, put it in neutral, ignition on the left, fires up, and the exhaust in the GTS sounds wonderful, as I'll demonstrate here to you in just a second. Now let's go ahead and see what this 6-speed manual is all about. All right, so as I'm setting off, I wanted to tell you really quickly about the shifter and the clutch action. When I got in here, I knew exactly what was going on. The engagement point of the clutch is nice, very linear. You can really feel where that grabbing point is. It's just a fantastic shifter and clutch to use in stop and go traffic, and I drove it around here in the city just a little bit, and it's just really nice to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and enable sport mode. Let's put it in sport plus mode, what the heck, and that will open up the exhaust baffles, and let's see what this 6-speed manual combined with this 4-liter engine feels like. Exhaust is really nice. Let's go, baby. Oh, yeah. Woo! Wow, really, really, really fast car. Rev match downshift sound really nice. Turn here. Rev it out, rev it out, rev it out, rev it out. Oh, wow. The high revving nature of this car and the exhaust note that you get from behind your ear delivers great thrust and a great engagement or experience. Let's go again here. Oh, traffic. And it's just rolling here in first gear. It's got enough to keep its pace without having to go into neutral. Oh, wow. Yes. Oh, I miss driving a manual shifter. So much fun. Okay, so from a speed standpoint, this thing is properly quick. Let's get another one here. Oh, it just screams. Wow, it just screams. This 4-liter is so amazing. Okay, the engine is very, very nice. Great sound. And of course, this is the 4-liter with 394 horsepower and 309 pounds-feet of torque. The horsepower number is 20 less than the Cayman GT4, and I've driven a Cayman GT4 with the PDK. It would be hard pressed to say it feels much different than a Cayman GT4. This is plenty fast enough. 0 to 60 time is 4.3 seconds. Some might look at that and say, oh, it's a little slow by 2023 standards. It is not slow. Do not be fooled by that number. I would say it's massively underrated. When you see this thing climb to the 8,000, well, close to 8,000 RPM red line, it is extremely, extremely fast and engaging to drive. Now, let's switch gears. Literally here, let me go into third. Slow it down a little bit. I'm gonna put it back in the normal mode and tell you about this shifter, this magnificent shifter. So as far as its feel, the shifter is wonderful. It's got a really nice, tight, and mechanical feel to it. Most Porsche shifters are good, and it's no different here. The clutch is great as well. It's not too heavy, but it still maintains sportiness, so you can feel like, oh, you're driving a sports car. And the other thing that it has that I really like is rev match downshifting. Now, some people, some real purists with the manual transmission don't really like rev match downshift, but I personally enjoy it for a couple reasons. Number one, it makes you feel like a hero. And number two, it really allows you to concentrate with a manual transmission instead of really hitting your rev match or your rev match upshifts or downshifts. Kind of like a PDK, it allows you to concentrate. This kind of takes a little bit away from that need to nail some of those transmission-oriented driving dynamics, but still maintaining, of course, the shifting pattern and the clutch move and all that stuff is still there. So it's not like it really takes a lot away from the engagement of a manual. Now, it's not all peaches for the manual. There is one major flaw with this thing, and that is the gearing is way too tall for the street. It's actually quite a shame because you've got almost 8,000 RPM to play with, and when you rev this thing in first and second gear, you're going way too fast. It's just too fast for the street, and it's a shame. But that's one thing that I think the PDK has over the 6-speed manual GTS, because the gearing in the PDK is a little bit more friendly, allows you to use the entire rev range without going too fast for the street. Now, let me tell you about the rest of this car, and then I'll round it out with my thoughts of PDK versus 6-speed. So the suspension, this is lowered 20 millimeters compared to a regular Cayman. It does have PASM, it does have torque vectoring, and it does have a mechanical limited slip differential because of the manual shifter. So how does it drive on the street? I didn't get a chance to drive it in the canyon, so I can't really give you a perspective there. I could certainly see why people would want to buy this and drive them on a daily basis. They are fantastic. Now I'm in comfort mode. So long as you stay in that mode or normal mode, you don't go into sport mode with the chassis. This is a sublime sports car to drive, and I underline sports car because it still feels sporty and properly stiff in certain aspects. Like for example, you drive here in downtown LA and the road imperfections absolutely come through the steering wheel and into the seat, into your car, and kind of heightens those senses. But they're not overly aggressive like what you see in a lot of other super high sport cars like the GT3 or the GT4. So it's a great car to drive on the street as well. Now, let's go back to the PDK versus 6-speed manual talk. You could say that the PDK might be a little bit better to drive because of that flaw with the high gearing. But in my opinion, the 6-speed manual is not just about driving fast and revving it up high. You have so much fun in a manual, and this is not just tailored to the Cayman GTS 4.0. This is for basically every car with a manual transmission. The engagement that you get with a manual, whether you rev it to 3,000 or 4,000 or 8,000, it's just a completely different style of driving and a completely different tickling of your senses. When you're driving a car like this with the engine behind you, and it's high revving, and it's lightweight, and it's balanced, and it's got a shifter like this car, forget about the gearing. Whether you're driving slow or whether you're driving fast, I think that's one of the things that's the hallmark of the manual transmission. Because in either of those scenarios, fast or slow, the manual transmission is just super fun to drive. Now, this is my personal opinion, but I say that to everybody. The manual transmission is great because it's great to drive fast and slow. So, you can kind of see where I'm going. If I had to pick between a 6-speed manual or a PDK equipped GTS 4.0, I'm taking the manual 10 times out of 10. So that's the Cayman GTS 4.0. It's engaging to drive. The 4-liter singing behind your ears is absolute music, and you've even got a frunk and a trunk to put your things. Now, I already picked the 6-speed manual over the PDK, but what about the whole price discussion? Is this car worth its $95,000 price tag? And I think the answer to that is yes, and let me explain. So what is the Cayman? It's a true sports car. It's got 2 doors, 2 seats, a mid-engine configuration, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, lightweight, and on top of all of that, available with a high-revving, naturally aspirated engine. Now, name me another new car you can buy that checks all of those boxes. Unless I'm missing something, the only car that matches it and surpasses the GTS 4.0 is its bigger brother, the Cayman GT4. Now, unless Chevrolet decides to reverse course and put a manual back in the Corvette, if you want a sports car, a new one that checks all of those boxes, and you really don't want to spend a fortune buying a hypercar, the Cayman is really your only choice. So the whole worth it discussion, it's not valid. So that's pretty much all I've got. If you've got any questions, please leave me a comment down below or send me a message on Instagram @DriveSteady. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, drive steady.